Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah baby, aka ya Bantam. And me di fill up bows in pan and to see more virtue the money how Ghana mat other romantic. What's me sending provisions as I sutra credit Emma Ebusia phone and the form one Ghana. And one is a ubako www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection www.ghanamat.com. Let's try provisions in the credit. Na really angazankaza. I have friend numbers na mo screen na seno. Ghana Mat ye krano.
Hello, welcome to the Ghana Agenda. My name is Seth Mifetu, and today is April 10th, 2021. And today we are coming to you live from our DC studios. And today we'll be talking to a gentleman by the name Mifetu, Seth Mifetu. Seth will be taking us to the Volta region. You know, we have this whole Ghana project that we'll be discussing, and this is just the first segment or the first episode of that. So we're looking at the Ghana project. What are the bits and pieces of Ghana? What territories or influences come together to form the country Ghana? And today we wanted to talk about Volta region. Volta region as one of those influential areas, one of those pieces that comes to form the Ghana project. Now, we would be talking about Volta region, but also in the context of the Togoland. The Togoland being, you know, the territory that was actually under the German, and then the understanding is the Germans lost the First World War, and so it was put under the trusteeship of two administering powers, a French administrative power and the British administrative power. So I'm going to get Mr. Mifetu set to help digest all that. Mifetu is in the studio, but before I bring him on, let's take a quick break. Let me go check the green room and see if he's ready to go. We'll come back and we'll go into the details of what it means when we say Volta region. What are some of the historical perspectives that we need to have so that we can appreciate the Ghana project. We'll be back to have that conversation with Seth Mifetu. Please let a friend who needs to watch this show know that the Ghana Agenda is on. Share the links and tell your friends to tell a friend the Ghana Agenda is on. Seth will be joining us shortly. We'll be right back.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah baby, aka ya Bantam. And me di fill up bows in pan and to see more virtue the money how Ghana mat other romantic. What's me sending provisions as I sutra credit Emma Ebusia phone and the form one Ghana. And one is a ubako www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection www.ghanamat.com. Let's try provisions in the credit. Na really angazankaza. I have friend numbers na mo screen na seno. Ghana Mat ye krano.
All right, welcome back to the Ghana Agenda. Again, my name is Seth Mifetu. Today, like I said, we'll be talking to my friend Seth Mifetu, and we would be going into answering the question, how well do you know Volta region? And in that context, we want to look at the broader Togoland. And Seth will be helping us digest that. But before we get into that, I wanted to take the opportunity to say that, of course, we changed our time because we wanted to target a bit of our brothers and sisters in Ghana. So we move our time from Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to Saturday. And I know, you know, it's a bit drastic moving across days and then also changing the time. But this is going to be our new time. We'll be coming on at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which will be 6 p.m. in Ghana. Welcome to Ghana Agenda, Mr. Seth. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Thank you, my brother.
Good to have you. I think we're already beginning to have comments come in, but we'll be reading that. I think Black Jesus is watching, who is, of course, our director at Trend African TV. Black Jesus, Royal Black Jesus, actually. Thanks for watching. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Mr. Seth, my understanding is you just came out of another program, which is the Western Togoland Situation Room. Tell me about that program, but at the same time, tell me about yourself and how you got into, first of all, being a strong advocate of the region and its people.
Thank you so much, my brother. Like you said, I just came up from Western Togoland Situation Room where I host that program. What I try to do is that I try to explain to Ghanaians and Western Togoland and those abroad to understand the situation between the land that we call Western Togoland, which is normally called Togoland under British administration, or British Togoland. That today we are just calling it simple and short, Western Togoland. So we try to explain to Ghanaians, Western Togolanders, and any other person who wants to be interested that this is the fact. We tell them the truth for them to be their own judge. We tell them that this is how the thing's supposed to be. We try to explain to the people that, oh, listen, Western Togoland is supposed to be in union with Ghana. And they voted in 1956 in Plebiscite to join independent Gold Coast in the form of a union. But that union has now been established. So if there's a need for us to establish that union, let's do it now. So we try in Western Togoland Situation Room to tell them the bare truth, what it is. And I use United Nations document to back those facts, so that people can just understand and know the right thing to do. People who are sleeping will wake up, and those who are wake up will start running. That's what I would do in Western Togoland Situation Room.
Okay, so just so people can catch the Western Togoland Situation Room, where can they find it? What time does it come on?
Western Togoland Situation Room is on every Saturday on Trend Africa. You can go on Facebook and just search for Trend Africa TV. Then the time is 5 p.m. Ghana time. It will be 1 p.m. New York time. So that is the time. Wherever you are located, if you can use the Ghana time to calculate your time, it will be 5 p.m. Ghana time. So that you can use it to calculate where you, because I understand that we are not on the same time zone.
Okay, great. Yeah. So Ghana Agenda viewers and my audience, you've heard Mr. Mifetu. If you want to catch the situation room, the Western Togoland Situation Room, where he goes down into the nitty details of all the things we'll be talking about today. It's on Trend Africa and it comes on Saturdays, and he just gave you the time. So Seth, I want us to go chronologically, right? How did this whole situation started? How did Togoland found itself under trusteeship? Take me from the beginning and walk us through. If I'm new to the area and I want to understand who are Ewers, who are Voltarians, how did they get to that part of Ghana to form Volta Region? Walk me from the beginning. I think you told me something about in the background about the Germans being the occupiers of that area. So take me from the beginning. How did we get to Volta Region?
Thank you so much, my dear brother. Talking about the Evers and the Volta Region, we will be talking about two issues altogether, because we can't talk about Evers and the Volta Region, because that will be something different. Because we're talking about the Everland, you'll be taking from Ghana through Togo, through Benin, through Nigeria, that you'll be talking about the Everland. But if we're talking about the Volta Region, we will be limiting to Ghana and Western Togoland and Eastern Togoland. So that makes it very simple for us. So I will limit myself to that so that we don't go into the Everland. If you go to Everland, you will end up talking about different thing altogether. You are only on one tribe, which have to do with Evers. If we talk about how the Volta Region came about, you want to know how they were under the German and stuff like that from the very beginning, like you said. From the very beginning, these people are part of the land that we call the Togoland. Just simple, Togoland. It's nothing like a Western Togoland at the time. It's just one land called the Togoland. The Togoland stretch all the way from Boku, Sankasi, Kulungugu, that share border with Burkina Faso, which normally we call the Upper Volta, and route down to the Volta region south. You know, it ran through the eastern part of Eastern region all the way to through the Oti region. So Oti region is part of this Togoland that we are talking about, and then it moved all the way to Togo, the Republic of Togo, where Yadema is ruling today. That place and where I have just mentioned, they were all one land called Togoland. There is no division. It was under the German. The German came there and they have their influence over there. So the people of Togo was enjoying the German suzerainty because the Germans were there and they were enjoying the German suzerainty until the war broke up in Europe. When the war broke up in Europe, it was then that, okay, let me give you one thing before we move into the war. You see that the Togo itself, the Togo is located between Dahomey and Gold Coast. So the Togo was between Gold Coast and Dahomey. Dahomey is where we are calling today as Benin. And then the Gold Coast is where we are calling today as Ghana. Now,
okay, so as you can see on my screen, you're talking about that stretch of purple area. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. And you could see where it cut off in the bottom there by Georgia and Kita and all those other places. So all the purple area sort of is what you're referring to as the Western Togoland. Is that correct?
If this map is this, I don't think this is the old map. This is the current map, and you can see that the Western Togoland was cut short. You know, if you look at the bottom there, the Western Togoland, the purples are supposed to go down there to add the original map. Should have added the Anglon, the Tong, the Peking there, but that was cut off. So that very particular map you are showing me, it is a recent map. It's not the original map where we have the complete Togoland, but this is where some things happen and some things cut out. But so I do not want to.
I think we're going to have the opportunity for you to explain to us how even this modifying map came into being. But in the meantime, you were telling me about the German ownership and all that.
Yeah.
So
so for instance, all the purple side and the other side where they say Togo were the areas that were having the German influence. They were under the German suzerainty. And then when the war came, and I said they were located between Dahomey, which is Benin, and Gold Coast, which is now Ghana. Because at that time, we don't have Ghana and we don't have yes. So what is happening is that British were in the Gold Coast. British colonized the Gold Coast. And the French colonized the Dahomey, the Benin people. So the Germans, Togoland was between the Gold Coast, which is for the Britain, and the French, Dahomey. So the French and the Britain came together and formed Britain on Togoland. So because of that fight, Germany was defeated and Germany left. So when Germany was defeated, then the Allied forces, the Britain and France, decided that they want to share the land as a war booty. So they share the land according to themselves. That's why the fact that you and I know very well that the war was not happening in Africa, the war was happening in Europe. So I don't see why you should bring the war to our land, the land of West Africa, while the war is in Europe. And you can also understand, for those who read history, they know very much well that it was decree, not even decree, it was against the constitution at the time. At the time, League of Nations was the one ruling the whole world, was the world government at the time. And it was that you cannot send a war to a foreign land. If you want to fight somebody, you don't fight the person in a foreign land. So at the time that the German was in Togoland, they do not have the army in the Togoland because Togoland does not belong to the Germans. For them to have their army there. The German only came there using the people to get the cotton that they were growing there, to get the resources and send it back to develop their country, Germany. That is all that they were doing. They were having about 12 Germans. These are the only people on the land. They don't have military.
So if I get you right, what you're saying is between whatever year, maybe the 1418s, when the first Caucasian was actually made it to West Africa. Between that time and the First World War, the Germans occupied the entire Togoland, which comprises of the current Togo and Volta region as formerly divided,
Volta region and Oti region.
Volta region and Oti region.
All the way to St. Cassidy, Eastern Border.
All that place was a German territory. German was actually the occupying power there. Yeah. And then the Germans lost the First World War.
Yeah.
And when it was the First World War, as a result of losing the war, Britain and France, who were allied in that war, decided to split the Togoland. That's what you're saying. Okay. Then what happened? So they split the Togoland, and then how did we end up in Ghana? I wanted to kind of,
right. They split the land. They divide the land into east and west. So because Britain took the western part that was close to the Gold Coast because they were in the Gold Coast.
And you said the French because they were already in Dahomey. They were already
French were already in Dahomey. So the land was divided into east and west. So eastern part was close to Dahomey. So the French took over the eastern Togo. And then the British took the part that is Western Togo, which is close to Gold Coast. So they take that. So that became theirs. And then that's where the League of Nations stepped in and said, you don't do this. The land does not belong to Germany. And if you even have the right to fight them, that right is not even for to you to fight them in any other place. But if you do that, that does not mean to share the land among yourself as war booty. But now that you have done that, you have exerted your influence on the people. So the Western Togolanders have the British influence instead of the German influence. And then the Eastern Togoland have the French influence instead of the German influence. One thing we must know that our people, both you can call it Volta region or whatever, the people that fall within the Togoland were German-speaking people. They don't speak English. So that's why sometimes they don't speak English. Before they don't speak English until the British came in. So when the British came in, they destroy all the things that Germany built for these people, the schools, the everything. And those French scholars who had a German influence, German scholars in our forefathers who went to German school, now they cannot speak the English. Now they have to come back and start from scratch. So it looks like the Gold Coast were ahead of them, but that was it because they were ahead of them in terms of the English because they had the English influence, and our forefathers in the Western Togoland had a German influence. So they speak German, and the other people the Gold Coast speak English. So when that part was given to the British, and they destroy everything that the Germany built for them, now they have to introduce their schools into Western Togoland. And you, the one who have learned German, now you have to go back and start
learning English. Okay. Okay, now let's go back to, so now, the English took over, the Western territory, the Western part. The French, of course, took the one closer to Dahomey so that, they can merge that with Benin or however they want to, want to go forward with that part. Now, what happened after, Ghana became independent, or before Ghana became independent? My understanding is that they had to ask the indigenous, the inhabitants of the land, to make a decision at some point to either join with Ghana or to continue to remain under the British trusteeship. First of all, tell me about the trusteeship and how it came about, and then tell me about the decision that has to be made by the indigenous at some point to either join Ghana or to continue to be under the trusteeship. Yeah.
If you quite remember, I was making a point with the League of Nations at the time. And if I don't complete the point, some people might not get the understanding. It was the League of Nations who stepped in and stopped Britain and France from taking this land as their colony. So this land became a Class B mandated territory under the League of Nations. And they placed the land into the hands of Britain. Western Togoland was placed into the hand of Britain by League of Nations to be nurtured to independence. And then Eastern Togoland was also placed into the hands of French to be nurtured into independence. But they were called Class B mandated territory. It was the Second World War. It was the Second World War that sought the collapse of the League of Nations. So League of Nations was not able to prevent the Second World War. So when the Second World War happened, League of Nations was replaced by United Nations. So when the United Nations came, it took over and took over the mandated territory and placed them under the Trusteeship Council. So he also signed agreement with Britain, which we call the Trusteeship Agreement, to place the same land, Western Togoland, into the hands of Britain to be nurtured into independence. And then the same thing happened to Eastern Togo with France at the same time. So it happened like that. So we have 11 trust territory under the Trusteeship Council of the United Nations at the time. Now, this is where we get to the point that you were trying to establish. To say how the people voted and what happened, and they became part of Ghana and there and there. This is what happened. Those in the Western Togoland or the Togoland under British administration, they came to a time when the Gold Coast was demanding for their independence, and the whole world was pressurizing the imperialists to end colonialism in Africa. So Britain said that, okay, since I'm going to grant a Gold Coast independence, if I grant Gold Coast independence, I will not be able to take care of Western Togoland. So for that reason, I want to make a union with Western Togoland and the independent Gold Coast. So when that happened, the United Nations said, okay, they went into debate. And then they said, okay, if you want to do that, we agree that you should grant these people independence and make a union with Western Togoland and independent Gold Coast. But then you have to let the people decide whether they want to join independent Gold Coast in a form of a union or otherwise. So they hold a plebiscite in 1956. The plebiscite was held in Western Togoland in 1956. And out of the plebiscite, 58% of the Western Togolanders voted to join independent Gold Coast in the form of a union. And 42% voted against joining the union. So at the end of the day, it's the union that has won. So that's how the union is supposed to come about. And after that, the United Nations also held a meeting and came out with Resolution 1044 SI of 13 December 1957 and give steps to give steps to Britain to take those steps to bring about the union. So after the people have chosen the union, UN said that the plebiscite alone is not a union. The plebiscite alone does not form a union. It's only a decision of the people that we want to be in union. But there are steps that you have to take to bring about the union. So we are not going to allow you.
Yeah, you keep saying union.
Yes.
don't we have a union currently in place between Ghana and the former Western Togoland? What we currently have in place, can that now be described as a union? In your mind, what is a union? And what needs to be done to actually attain this union that you are describing?
Okay. If you say you have a union, then you must be able to prove with a union agreement. There can never be a union without agreement. Now, if we are talking about
what
the
you're
union,
saying is, after the plebiscite, the first thing that needed to happen was that there needed to be an agreement between independent Ghana and the Western Togoland. Is that what you're saying?
yes, there should be a union agreement between the two, finalizing the union, the terms and references of the union. Every union has the terms and references and laid down in the union agreement. Now, this is what happened. If you want to establish a union, you must make sure that the two countries are equal. You do not make a union between two unequal countries.
Okay.
You don't make a union between two unequal countries. And there are certain things that must be in place before a union can be reached.
What does that mean? Who are the unequal countries in this situation?
You can see that Western Togoland was a trust territory. That means they are independent countries. Okay. They are just being placed into the hands of British to be independent. When they are growing enough, they should be released to be on their own. But you can see Gold Coast was a colony. Gold Coast was a colony.
So what you're saying is, at the time, Gold Coast was not yet an independent country.
No.
But Western Togoland was already independent because it was really never colonized.
Exactly. And when you are a colony, you are a slave. You have no right. So you cannot make a union with a slave and a trust territory. So what the United Nations asks is that Britain must grant independence to her colony. That was Gold Coast. That we don't have Ghana at the time.
Okay, Gold Coast then. Gold Coast.
So what's happening here? One thing is that Britain will have to make sure that the people of Western Togoland have a government, and the people of Gold Coast also have their own government that will represent their own interests. Here, Britain will also have to make sure that there is a constitutional conference between Western Togoland and Gold Coast. Now, Britain will also have to make sure that there is a union constitution to give a backing to the union. So all these are all steps. It's not a step that should be taken a day, because you need, when you have the government of Western Togoland and the government of the Gold Coast, they will sit down and discuss the terms and references. But that is not done. The one thing you have to know is that at the time that Britain is saying that the union have been established, at that point, Western Togoland have no government to represent her interest. But Gold Coast have a government in place. Gold Coast have a government. Britain has guided Gold Coast, nicely to form a government to represent her interest, because British was leaving. But that was not done to Western Togoland. Western Togoland, there was nothing. The people were just there. They don't know what is happening, don't know what is going on. And then 1957, when Ghana became independent, we saw a letter saying that the union was effected on the same day that Ghana became independent.
Let's explain this whole union thing one more time in a way that the average person would understand. So, on the day of the plebiscite, two questions were on the ballot, right?
Yes.
One question was that Togoland, which is the Western Togoland, will stay under the trusteeship until they are ready to become independent, and when they are ready to formulate their government and be on their own. And then the second question was that they go into a union with Ghana, with the Gold Coast, which is going to be independent on its own. Then they go into a union with that independent Ghana. And we are saying that that was what won the day. When the plebiscite was held, that the majority of the people, which my understanding is about 58% of the people, about 93,000 of them, voted to join a union with Ghana. And you are saying that that union has now been consummated. That union has now been properly formed. In other words, there was no union agreement between the independent Ghana and the Western Togoland. So how then did we allow, or how then did Ghana manage to keep that Togoland till today when the union hasn't been properly consummated?
Well, I'll come to that, but I just want to show you this. This is from the United Nations. It's a United Nations document.
Okay.
Somewhere you see these pictures. You see the hand and the sun. The hand represents, this is the what you have, the symbol people have to vote for during the plebiscite. If you vote for the hand, you are voting for union. If you vote for the sun, you are voting against the union. And I want to read the union question from the other page for you. Yeah, I want to get that one for you so that people can know exactly. This is it. This is this is for the union, and this is the question here. This is the question for the union. The question says, "I will." The Union of Togoland under British administration with an independent Gold Coast. So if you are voting for the hand pointing up, that means you are voting for Union of Togoland under British administration with an independent Gold Coast. Okay. Now this is the second question, which is for the sun. So if you are voting for the sun, this is the question that falls over there. And the question says, the separation of Togoland under British administration from the Gold Coast and its continuance under transition, pending the ultimate determination of its political future. So if you vote for this, you are voting against the union, and you have to wait until a further determination of your political future. So you remain in trust until a further determination of your political future. So that's what the two question is. So that's what it is. Now I want to go to your question. I just want to use that to help with the questioning that was posed on the day of the plebiscite. That was the plebiscite question and the symbols of the plebiscites. Okay. Now,
so one you go in for the union, the other says. So people are saying the union means that you are joining with the country, and I think Steve has a comment that we'll go into the comments in a little bit that I'll read to you. Maybe let me bring that right away. Steve is asking that what you're saying. First of all, Steve is saying it doesn't make a lot of sense. He says if you agree to join a country, it's essentially an understanding and an agreement. Can he further explain what he means that there was no formal agreement? So we've had a plebiscite, and that plebiscite was taken to United Nations, and the United States passed Resolution 1044 to confirm that going forward, we will be part of Ghana. So how is that not a union in your understanding? And I want you to differentiate between what you mean by a union and what you mean by what we currently have. And I'm sure maybe some people call it integration, that we are necessarily integrated into Ghana, and that the Volta land, or they changed the name to Volta land at some point, which I'm sure you're going to explain, but that the Western Togoland shouldn't be integrated. It should be a sort of a union on its own in combination with the independent Gold Coast. Give us also examples of unions around the world so that we can understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think that when we are talking about a union, we are talking about a political union here. We are not talking about a union between somebody and somebody, you and somebody. You can just agree on something and go into a union. That's the two of you. That's fine. But we are talking about a political union. We are talking about the future of a country. We are not talking about the future of one person. So you don't just say because the people say they voted to be in union with you, that means we are in union. It is never done anywhere like that. Now, what is done is that if the people voted to be in union, you make sure, like I explained before, there should be, the two countries have to be equal in status. That means that the two countries need to have a government that is representing her interest. Today, if the Ghana government wants to go into union with any country, it is not just the citizen voting to be in union with the person. That is it. The government of Ghana have to go into agreement, have to go into negotiation with the other government. That's the other country. That is what's supposed. You're supposed to have an equal partners in this union. But that was not done. That is not the case in Western Togoland and that of independent Gold Coast. That's one people have to bear in mind. That's why we are saying that you cannot effect a political union without an agreement. Anytime there's a political union anywhere, there is an agreement. The agreement determines the term and references of the union. So when something is not going right, you can reference to the term and reference. You go there and say, this is what the union agreement says. It said, when you go left, I will go right. When you go back, I will go forward. But if there is nothing like that, where is the union then? If there is no union constitution, it is the union constitution that gives a backing to the union. If you have a country like Ghana, it is the unitary constitution that gives a backing to your country. So if you say, I voted for union, therefore I'm in union with you, what is the backing of the union? There is no backing. There is no union constitution. That is what's supposed to be there to give us a backing. So the jury, there is no union. Now, if voting alone, the plebiscite alone is a union, the United Nations will not waste her time and resources to come up with resolution 1044 SI of December 13, 1956. After the plebiscite, this is the resolution 1044 SI. United Nations have to come with this resolution to give Britain a step to take.
What does that resolution say? What does
it about the union? So if there's the question my brother is asking, if the union, the plebiscite, the vote is enough to form a union, then there is no need for United Nations to come up with resolution 1044 SI to give steps that British should take to bring the union into effect. So there is no union.
No, I was just gonna say under that resolution, there are a couple of things, right? Four things stated in that resolution. And the first one says there's expresses, so the resolution is expresses, the United Nations is expressing its approval of the union of the territory of Togoland under the British administration with an independent Gold Coast, and accordingly invites the administering authority to take such steps as necessary to end
to this end.
Okay. Yeah. And then the second says, so basically, let's dwell on that a little bit. So, of course, they are expressing their approval of the union between Togo and Ghana, and then the British Togoland, and then accordingly they're inviting Britain to take the necessary steps to make that happen. What steps are they talking about?
If you read through, you will see they've given the British steps that they should take. They've make sure that these are the steps you have to take to bring about the union.
Okay, let me read the second one. The second one says resolves with the agreement of the administering authority that on the date on which the Gold Coast becomes independent and the union with it of the territories of Togoland under the British administration takes place, the trusteeship agreement approved by the General Assembly in Resolution 631 of 13 December 1946 shall cease to be in force, the objective of trusteeship having been attained. So that is to mean that
once first of all, you will have to know the objectives of the trusteeship That the objective of the trusteeship is that by the time that the trusteeship agreement will be terminated or cancelled, the Western Togoland or the trust territory that is held in trust should be given a full independence.
Okay.
So if you are to make a union with them, that means the trusteeship agreement has been, the trusteeship this thing has been attained. That's what you are referring to. Because when they signed the trusteeship agreement in 1946, the idea is that by the time that we are going to cancel this trusteeship agreement, at that time, the people of which you sign agreement to hold in your custody will be given a full independence. So that's what you're
Let's look at the third one. The third one says, request the government of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland to notify the Secretary General as soon as the union of the territory of Togoland and the British administration with an independent goat code has been effected. Has that notification occurred?
Yes, that occurred. That was the letter signed by Alan Noble on behalf of the British government. Notified.
So is saying that the union has occurred.
Yes, that's what the government.
There's no agreement for the union to occur. On what basis is Alan writing a letter to the United Nations saying a union has been consummated when there's no union agreement?
That is what we ask Ghana to call it. The Ghana and the British, they should be calling it those things, because you have not effected a union. But you wrote a letter to the United Nations telling them that the union have been effected. You cannot effect a union without a union agreement. If you said a union have been effected, you must have a union agreement in place. When we request for the union agreement, they say they don't have it. So where is the union? There is nowhere that the citizens or the government of Togoland and the British administration met with the governor of the Gold Coast to formalize the union. There is no point that the two countries met to agree on one thing to form the union. So where is the union?
Okay. So, there is a comment here from Solomon Agbenya. Solomon Agbenya is saying the gentleman should give an example of a union between the two territories without any agreement between them.
Yeah, that is referring to the gentleman with the first question, because he says that because
basically what we are saying
he is referring to Steve, because Stephen said we voted and we agreed to be in union. That's why Mr. Solomon is saying that the gentleman should give a union country without agreement. He should give us an example. If you know any country like that, give us any example.
Okay, so how about you? Give us an example of countries that have unions and how those countries are faring. Because we've been hearing about union things, but
we talk about even the Great Britain itself is a union state. It's a union country. The Wales came together with the England, the Scotland, and they came together to form the Great Britain. So Britain that has been given the mandate to effect the union, they themselves are a union country. So they know the right thing that needs to be done. So what did you do?
Okay. So let's do this. Let's take a quick break. But when we come back, I'm going to read all the messages that we've gotten so far to you, and then we can respond to those messages. But also when we come back, I want us to talk about, all right, there has been integration of the British Togoland into Ghana. Okay. What is it that would resolve the issues that we are discussing today? In other words, you are saying that the union hasn't been properly consummated, and of course, I'm sure that is what leads to these Western Togoland struggles that we see. We've seen some of that in 2018, 2019, even before the election. We saw some road blockages between Sugakopo or so. And so we'll be going into all these details when we get back from our break. Stay there if you haven't already done so. Tell a friend to tell a friend. The Ghana Agenda is on. And today we are speaking to Mr. Seth Mifetu. He's educating us on things that we may not have known about Volta Region, or he's actually helping us to get to know more about Volta Region in the context of the Togoland. We'll be right back to continue our conversations. Mrs. Seth, you're doing a good job.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah baby, aka ya Phantom. And me di feel a buzzing pan and to see more virtual the money how Ghana mat ada romantic. With me send provisions as a sutra credit Emma Ebusuya phone and for more Ghana. And one say ubako www.ghanamat.com. And they would say boy a sharp connection www.ghanamat.com. Let's provisions in the credit na very zankasa. I have friend numbers na mo screen na seno. Ghana Mat ye krano.
Hey, welcome to the Ghana Agenda. My name is Afera Muzu. Today we are doing well. We are being watched by so many people. We have almost 6,500 people watching us live. Tell a friend to tell a friend if you haven't already done so. I didn't know Togoland was very important to a lot of people, but we are getting a lot of views today and we like that. If you're watching us, please like our show. Press the like button so that whenever we come, you can be notified and you can always join us. We talk about economics, we talk about finances, budgets, oil revenues, all kinds of things. Japan deals, all type of conversations happen on the Ghana Agenda, and I bring very, very resourceful people to educate us on a week-by-week basis. So today we are talking to Seth, and Seth is helping us digest some of the historical documents that were signed, referendums or plebiscites that were held, and what are some of the implications of those things to the Ghana project? How does Volta Region feed in the Ghana project, and whether that relationship between Western Togoland and the independent Ghana has been properly consummated? If it hasn't been properly consummated, is this likely to cause us problems going forward? And what can we do as a people to ensure that the Ghana that we all love is together and is strong, legally and even within ourselves, in educating ourselves to understand, so that in the future, when these conversations happen, that people are not put in jail? My understanding is there is a decree which actually bans the conversations we are having today. And I'm going to let Seth actually help me understand what that decree is and what that decree will do. But Seth, before we went on break, I promised that when we get back, I would be reading all the comments that we received so far to you. So I'm going all the way back to the top. The first was from Black Jesus. Royal Black Jesus was our director at Trend Africa TV. And I also host a show with Black Jesus on Sundays. It's actually called Maka, and I do the political session. And then there are also trending issues that is on that show. So if you have the chance on Sunday, please catch us. So Black Jesus is saying, big up yourself, brother Alfred. Thank you, Black Jesus, and thanks for your support. Mr. Avonio Christian Amanyanu says, I'm watching live from Western Togoland. Thanks for watching. My understanding is that word can be just mentioning the word by itself, Western Togoland. It's against the law in Ghana. And so we'll go into all that when Seth has the opportunity to address this again. And Black Jesus again says, share. Thanks, Black Jesus. People have shared. We have about 6,400 people watching us live right now. That is a blessing. We love it. Chuck Phillips says, hello, sir. I'm watching from Kita, Western Togoland. Chuck, thanks for watching. I think it's Clark. Clark, thank you for watching. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I have Miss Emmanuel saying, watching from Nigeria. Thanks for watching all the way from Nigeria. My understanding is there is a place in Nigeria called Badagry, and that place has some world history behind it. And I'm going to let Seth tell us all about that world history, why we call that place Badagry, and what it means, what is the relevance to what we are talking about today. So Seth, get ready when we come back for you to help us understand what Badagry is, what Badagry means, and what role does it play in the Ghana project or the Togoland, which is as part of the Ghana project. Okay, so then there's a YouTube link here from Emmanuel again. And then Steve made a first comment which says, Sir Alfred, very surprising that we are still talking about separatism today, as opposed to unity of regions of Africa, if not the whole of the continent, for better utilization and maximize the resources of this rich continent. Let's look at what United Nations like US have been able to achieve. This history that Seth is giving us, how will it help us? So Seth, keep that question in mind. Steve is asking.
I don't need to keep that in mind. I think he's making a reference to United Nations. He must know that United Nations is a union country. All the states came together to form a union. If you take a United history, we used to have only the 9 colonies, which what do you call the Virginia and New York is part of the first 9 colonies, which formed the America. And the other states keep joining in a form of a union. So United Nations is a union nation. They are states that are very small.
Talking about the United States, now you
deny them their right. They gave them their right to form the union. So if we are also telling you, we are telling you the fact that the people of Western Togoland were not part of the Gold Coast, but they voted to join independent Gold Coast in the union. That is where you must dwell your point. That okay, that union is established. But if you are ignoring that point and say we should move on where? When you are actually suppressing somebody's right, we should move on. When you put your knee on somebody's neck and the person is telling you, I cannot breathe, and you say you should move on.
All right, so let's run through this because I know these are going to be things we talk about. Let's run through the messages quickly so we can come back to what is it that we want, really? You know we are having these conversations, but are we really saying that we want Ghana divided so that Togoland can be on its own? Or are we saying something different? And I'll be putting that to you. So let's go through these comments very quickly, and then we'll come to that. Seth says, Salomon again says, Seth, Aboka Dreka now, which means, strength, right? From strength to strength. That you are doing.
Mr. Solomon, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. So I read the other ones from Mr. Solomon to you, but let's look at what Michael says. Michael Williams says, Western Togolanders deserve self-government, knowing their boundaries, self-constitution, as any state requires. Likewise, Ghana. All right, so William sounds like he supports or he's really on the same page as you. Somebody Afa says fireworks. That means we're doing good. And then Gamesuji George. Did I say that well? Gamiasu. He says, does Western Togolanders voted for union or they voted for integration? If union, then where is that document? If there is some who represented the Togolanders during the time or signing of that document. So that was
what I was telling you. That was what I was telling you. There was no government representing Western Togoland at the time. And there was nowhere Western Togolanders met with Gold Coast to decide on the union. Okay. It's not there. So how do you form a union if these steps were not taken?
Okay, great. Clark here is saying, do you have to vote to become a citizen of a country?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. And then Abonyo Christian, Abonyo again is saying, I think what PLC, which is the People's Liberation Council,
yes,
is saying it's not like what some of the groups in the land of Western Togoland are saying, that they want to cut off parts of Ghana away. So PLC, is that a group you belong to?
I am just admirer of PLC. I am just somebody who believes in the ideology of PLC because I have my personal ideology, but I came to realize that PLC is thinking the same ideology like myself.
What is PLC, by the way? What is PLC?
What?
What does PLC stand for? Is the
People's Liberation Council of Western Togoland, and I host a program for them all because I have come to understand their position of the union, of which I myself personally I also believe that. So I think that they are saying something that my personal belief goes with. So I go with them, but I am not a card-bearing member of PLC. I do not have nothing. If I tell you I'm a member of PLC and you ask me to prove it, I have nothing to prove that.
Okay, yeah, and then I said we will also talk about the PNDC law, the SMC decree at some point. So let's not forget to do that before we leave. Now, bless Kabla Agbenafa says history would definitely repeat itself. Everything about Western Togoland has been documented, so the relevant authorities should come on board and solve this whole issue. We shouldn't forget when the wound heals, the scar remains. Okay, so
the scar remains, you bear witness of the wound that heals.
Okay, and then Afa says, Alfred have powerful presentation skills. Afa, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. All right. So Steve is saying a formal agreement is simply a vote to join. What greater authority is greater than a formal vote by a people? Let us take a vote to elect. Once the result of such election is announced, it becomes the mandate of the people, by the people, for the people, my friend. So
Alfred, you know that statement is wrong. He's using that. You must correct that person so that he doesn't go. That's my friend Steve. If he's using an election, you can simply use Ghana's election to make example for him, to know that when Ghanaians vote in December 7th, when they vote to elect a president, they set a president-elect. That president is never a president. That person is never a president until something happened in January 7th that made the person president. So you should know that when you voted for somebody in December 7th, that person, you call the person president-elect. Until January 7th, something happened. Something needs to trigger and make that person a president. It's not your vote.
I mean, I think what we are having difficulty to understand is that, so the United Nations is still there as an institution that is supposed to govern this whole process. And the United Nations actually sat there and watched Ghana not consummate properly the union which they have authorized in a resolution 1044 XI. And the United Nations is sitting not saying anything. It's hard for the ordinary person to understand why an institution as powerful as the United Nations who fail on such a at such a higher level.
I will not dispute your comment. You are very right to say that the United Nations failed on that mandate. Yes. They did a lot for Western Togoland and any other trust territory. But like you said, the United Nations is also powerless somehow. You can disagree with me because you ask yourself, who are the people who brought about the United Nations? It is the winner of the Second World War. And Britain, they are the winner. Britain is one of them. France is one of them. And these administrative authorities are one of the people who won the Second World War, and they brought the United Nations into being. And they are today the veto power holders at the United Nations. I am telling you, it is sometimes difficult to go against their words and their intentions. So the intention of Britain was not to actually make the union, was actually to push Western Togoland into her territory. That was their purpose behind, but they were not able to come clearly. You see, so the United Nations somehow is a little bit crippled on challenging Britain on that. But you have every right to say that they fail because they're supposed to stand and make sure that the right thing is done, as they stood for Eastern Togo when they challenged France. When the French plebiscite was held in Eastern Togo and the people rejected it, United Nations put investigation and side with the people and say, you, the French, you rigged the election, get out. And then another plebiscite was held in Togo, which was the Eastern Togo.
Okay, let me get through the rest of the comments quickly because I know we have a lot to talk about, but let's kind of, finish the comments so that we can come and have the substantive conversation. So Charles is saying this issue must be solved. If not, it will continue to be lingering till this kingdom. Okay, till his kingdom. So he says, let's do this now, or he's going to continue to be with us. Bless Kamla again says, the laws are not really working in Ghana. Only God will help us. Watching live from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Thanks for watching, Kamla. We really appreciate this. And if you haven't already done so, please share the link so your friends can also watch. Gamba Sue G.V. George says, which part of the union said Togolanders can be intimidated during elections?
I think you want to say intimidated.
Which part of that document said Togolanders can be called foreigners at where they are? Okay, that's a good comment. We'll take that, George, and then Seth will provide comments after we read all the other ones. Yao Ya says, there are many leaders in Ghana who are involved in corruption. Thanks for saying that, yeah. And Mr. Ahladu Paul says, thank you, you are doing well. Thank you, sir. Please, if you haven't already done so, share the link so that your friends and loved ones can also watch this wonderful show. Solomon Agbenya again says, what is Mr. Muzu's understanding of the concept to effect? Ghana and the UK have never produced any evidence of the establishment of a union between Ghana and Western Togoland. Alan Noble Aden Clark's note to the UN is not an evidence of the establishment of a union. If there's a document to that effect, why doesn't Ghana produce it to silence all those who are clamoring for a real union? Okay, so that has been the comments. Now, Seth.
Yeah.
What we are discussing today,
it's
against the law in Ghana.
It is not.
Okay. You have actually even shown me this law, which I'm getting ready to pull up. But tell me about the law in Ghana. If you were to be talking about one, Western Togoland sort of seceding, or any type of, if you're associating yourself with any organization such as the PLC or so, that's, there is a law in Ghana that would, you would be in breach of. Tell me about this law and how it came about.
Okay, it's very unfortunate that today that we are living under the 21st century, that Ghana has been a member state of the United Nations, have signed all the treaties of the United Nations, agreeing to the right of every citizen, the right to freedom of speech, the right to a statehood, and the right not to be discriminated upon. And the 92 Constitution of Ghana is very clear against anything that have to do with discrimination. Very clearly. It is also very mind-boggling to notice that a Champions Decree in 1976 that we call the Supreme Military Decree 20 in 1976, that under a constitutional government, we adopt that decree that is used to demoralize the people of Western Togoland. That decree that was used to discriminate the people of Western Togoland. That decree that was used to coerce the people of Western Togoland. That decree that allowed aggression on the people of Western Togoland. It is very sad for us to note that Ghana is still clinching into that decree. And we have a court that is established by a constitution. And they are clinching to those decrees. It's very sad. It can be. I don't see why that decree to be clinched into at this 21st century. That we said we don't want anything to have to do with military rule. If you want military rule, then why don't we stay under military rule? Then we know that these are military rule and these are decree. But we abandon those decrees and then we go back and take some because this one discriminates against a certain class of people or a particular class of people. So these cannot be done. These are one of the ways that the people of Western Togoland feel that they are being discriminated upon, they are being coerced, they have seen aggression and they have been subdued by their counterparts. Because if they are allowed to mention their country as a Gold Coast, then the people of Western Togoland also feel that we should also be allowed to mention our country as Western Togoland. If we say that,
let's do this. Let's look at the decree itself that you're talking about very quickly, and then we can then go into all the details that you are explaining. So this decree, it's the Prohibited Organizations Act, which is SMD or SMC Decree 20. It was of 1976. It says prohibition of the Togoland Liberation Movement, etc. The following organizations are hereby declared unlawful and prohibited, namely, A, the organization known variously as the Togoland Liberation Movement, TLM, Tolimo, the TOLIMO, okay, the National Liberation Movement of Western Togoland, and the NLMWT, and any other organization whosoever called whose objects include advocating and promoting the secession from Ghana of the former British mandated territory of Togoland or part thereof, or the integration of the land, the said territory with any foreign territory. 2, it says, without prejudice to the generality of paragraph B of subsection 1 of this section, the chairperson of the Supreme Military Council may by executive instrument declare any organization to be an organization to which that paragraph applies, and any organization so declared shall be constructively presumed at all times and for all purposes to be an organization to which the paragraphs apply. There is another section to which I'm really interested in reading, which is section 2. I actually completely went out of it. Okay, section 2 talked about offenses and penalties. It says, on and after the commencement of this decree, it shall be an offense for any person in relation to any organizations referred to in section 1 of this decree, A, to summon any person to a meeting of the organization, B, to attend or cause any person to attend any meeting of the organization, C, to publish any notice, advertisement relating to a meeting of the organization, D, to prepare or participate in any prosecution or propaganda campaign of the organization, E, to use any slogan or label of the organization, F, to invite persons to support the organization, G, to grant loan or make any contribution or to make any contribution to fund held or to be held by or for the benefit of the organization, or accept any such loan or contribution, and H says to give any guarantee in respect of such loan or funds as aforesaid, or to be a member of such organization. Any person who contravenes any of these provisions of subsection 1 of this section shall be guilty of an offense and shall be liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 5,000 cedis or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years or both. This is the portion that applies to you and I. And then after that, I'm going to be quiet and then we can go on. It says, and this is section 3, it says, a citizen of Ghana may be tried and punished for an offense under section 2 of this decree, notwithstanding that any act in respect of which he is charged was committed wholly or partly outside of Ghana. So what it means is that this conversation we are having here can be against the laws in Ghana. Are you following, sir?
I'm following, but it is not. If you go back to what you read, section B,
because we are not a union, that you don't even fall under Ghana's laws.
Yeah.
And so
explain. Exactly. You see, this is a decree. This is a decree. But even when you go back to section B, it's talking about any organization, not individual. Any organization that aim is to succeed or break away. Now we are talking about union. We are not breaking away.
Okay.
So that is why I'm telling you. So even that, if this decree, this shameful decree, if we have to allow this shameful decree, this humanized decree to be operating within this 21st century, where we think that we have done away with all these military decree and stuff, if people should accept this, it doesn't come against me or anyone who believes in the union with Ghana, because we are not talking about separating from Ghana. We are not talking about succeeding from Ghana. The clause B was very clear on separating or succeeding. We are not talking about succeeding. We are talking about separating. So I just feel that it is not right that Ghana and the constitutional government should adopt a decree by a military ruler, why that military ruler we have actually said we don't want anything about military rule, and then we have accepted that decree. Bear in mind that Ghana's own constitution is against discrimination, and you adopt something that enforces discrimination.
But like I said, we do have a lot of decrees that we adopt. We said even our Evidence Act is a decree from the NR.
If that act is not discriminating, if that act doesn't go against the 92 constitution, this decree is against the 92 constitution of Ghana. That is the point I want to put there. If Ghanaians are saying that the people of the Western Togoland
conflict, what do you mean by it contravenes or it conflicts with the constitution? What part of it conflicts with the constitution?
Yeah, the constitution is clear on discrimination. It doesn't want any law to discriminate against anybody. And the Supreme Military Council Decree 20 of 1976 by Ketu Atampo, just the one you just read, is against the people of Western Togoland. It discriminates them. And this, if you accept this and you say the people are part of you, then you are using this to discriminate them. And your own law is against that.
Okay, let me ask the question. What the PLC, what do they want? What do you want set to be done? You said you want a union. How would we get to this union? This union obviously hasn't been consummated. The region has been integrated, divided into different states. Even if you look at the maps that we were looking at before, right? It's not the same Ghana. It's not the same Western Togoland. Now, Northern region, Northeast also has chopped into it, OT has chopped into it, and Volta region. So how is this union going to be consummated? What is that next step forward? Are we going to just be on radio talking about this and go home and do nothing? How do we take that next step? And what is that next step?
Thank you so much. Seth is an individual, and the words of the people of Western Togoland is above my words. So my job, what I need to do, and I'm trying to do, is that I have done research and I find out that this is the thing, and I need my people to know to wake up. There are a lot of people in Western Togoland today who are not privy to the truth. They don't even know that this thing we are talking about exists. So my job is to bring to the public what what it is for the people to decide. If we want to look at the way forward will be decided by the people of Western Togoland and that of Ghana. When the two countries come together, to sit down and talk about the way forward. If Western Togolanders want to take a decision, they have to come together as a one umbrella and take that decision. Me, as said, I cannot take that decision on their behalf. If I am doing it, look as if I'm speaking, I don't want to do that. So it is my job to lay bare the fact to the people of Western Togoland who are sleeping, who are not aware of this fact. They could get a fact, wake up and decide the way forward. So we should leave the way forward to the people to decide the way forward, not me.
Okay, so now there's also this argument that even the Western Togoland we are talking about, the British Togoland that we are referring to, it's not the whole Volta region per se. That places like Kita, Tone area, all those places are already part of Gold Coast. What do you say to that?
When did they become part of the Gold Coast?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Because there is no document to prove that. There is no document to prove that when they became part of the Gold Coast.
Right.
The people say it and they go scot-free. If you say that Western Togoland is not part of the Gold Coast, they ask you the document and we provide it. But if they say somebody is part of the Gold Coast and you ask document, they cannot provide it. But I will give you the instances that the people are using. Normally, I find it very, a little bit discomfort if I should debate on who fall within the Western Togoland and who does not fall within the Western Togoland. Why? Because if the people of Western Togoland come together, finally say, okay, we want the union to be established, it takes the United Nations to determine the boundaries of Western Togoland. So what if I tell you that the Ketas are not part of the Western Togoland and the UN say they are part of it? So what have I done? If I say the Keta is part of it and the United Nations came and said they are not part of it, so what is that I have done to the people? That is why sometimes I try to reserve myself from those comments. But then I will give you a little bit instances for people to make. I am not supporting somebody who is part, somebody who is not part. That's none of my business. But what I care for now is that the part that people were saying were the voter triangle, that the area that was given to Queen Victoria by the German king, Kaiser William, as a birthday gift. He gave that part as a birthday gift to Queen Victoria.
So hold on. You are saying the voter triangle area was given by the German king as a birthday gift to Queen Victoria.
The German king, Kaiser William, he gave that portion to the Queen Victoria as a birthday gift. Now, why he did that was that he was said to be the one to rule the German after the father passed away.
Is it true that he gave that to her as a birthday gift, though? Is that the truth?
Yeah, that is the truth. He did, and he did that because it is not the land and the people that he gave to Queen Victoria. It is the Lapo, which we call the levy, which became the tax.
I don't get how you just these guys are actually passing, giving land and the whole people as birthday gifts.
No, it is not the people, it is not the land. It is the Lapo collected from this triangle. The Lapo is the levy. It is what we call today the tax. You can call it the revenue. So the revenue generated from this area is what he gave to the Queen Victoria. So when the revenue is collected, it goes to Queen Victoria for thanking her, showing appreciation for letting him to become the king. Because when the Germans were saying that one hand is not good. So I don't want to use other words, because when God makes a human being, I cannot make a human being. There are words that you cannot use for a human being. So one hand is not good, and the people say, okay, because your one hand is not good, you cannot be the king. And he said, no, I am the firstborn of my son, and I am the one supposed to be the king, and stuff like that. And he referred the case to Queen Victoria. So Queen Victoria said, okay, bring your constitution. So they sent the constitution, and then Queen Victoria said, okay, the constitution did not say that if your one hand, if your one leg, if your one ear, if your one eye is not good, you cannot be the next king. It says that the first son of the king, since he's the first son of the king, so be it, he will be the king. After all, if he becomes the king, he does not go and do anything physical. He uses his brain. So if you have the brain, what a game. So and Queen Victoria say, okay, if you do not want my judgment, you can refer the case to the League of Nations. And the people say, no, we don't want to go to League of Nations. And they accepted Kaiser William to be the king. So Kaiser William, in showing appreciation to the Queen Victoria, gave the voter triangle to Queen Victoria. So the revenue generated from the voter triangle is given to Victoria. And Queen Victoria, there's no document saying that he have relinquished that area to the British. And the British used, when the British came into the picture, they used the voter triangle and the Yendi neutral ground as a bargaining chip in the Samoa Tango, where they were telling the Germans to release the Samoa Tango to them, and they would give them the Yendi. They were looking for the voter triangle. The British was interested in that. So but there was no point, there was no document that shows that it had been relinquished to the British. And then we came to 1952 when the British created the British Colonial Ordinance for the Voter Triangle under Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, when Kwame Nkrumah was the Prime Minister at the time in 1952. So when they did that, they brought the name down to Volta Togoland. And then in 1959, they introduced the Voter Act, when the Volta Region Act was introduced in 1969, then 1960, then the Volta Togoland was cut off and became Volta Region.
Right.
So this is how it all came about. But now, if the ordinance that was the British ordinance was not approved by the United Nations, because these people are trash territory. So if you have to create an ordinance to bring them to your jurisdiction, you must actually seek an approval or permission from the United Nations. But the United Nations was not involved in this. So how authenticity is this? So you see, so the issue about that is a very dicey. So we have to be very careful because there's no document to prove that. Except the ordinance, the British ordinance, it is there. The Volta Region Act, it is there. But that this have been approved by the United Nations? The answer is simple no. So how come if nothing, you might illegally put these people under your jurisdiction, and then you call it they are part of the Gold Coast? So you are saying that Gold Coast, they should come clear and tell us how they became Gold Coast. It's not that. So
okay, so let's do this. Let's take a quick break again, and then when we come back, what we want to talk about is, you know, people say even if we become a union and we are in that union with Ghana, it means that, of course, we have some fiscal authority over our resources in the region to develop our own area. Now, others will say, but development is actually done through the districts. We have district assemblies in the Volta region. All, you know, the areas that we are concerned about, the Western Togoland itself. We have districts in every single part of Western Togoland. Why don't we take our advocacy to those districts and ensure that when we are doing the long-term development plan for those districts or the medium-term development plans, that our ambitions, visions are realized through those plans? We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll discuss the details of how we can achieve the same things we are talking about, but through the current structures, like the district assemblies. We'll be right back.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah baby, aka ya Vandam. And me di feel a buzzing pan and to see one virtual the money how Ghana mat ada romantic. With me sending provisions, as I such credit Emma Ebusia Fona and the form one Ghana. And one is a www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamat.com. Provisions in the credit na really I have friend numbers na screen after no Ghana Matia.
Hello, welcome back to the Ghana Agenda. I've been having fun talking to Seth Mifetu. He's helping us understand Volta region in ways that we've never done before. He's helping us understand Volta region in the context of the Togoland broadly. And at this point, we want to go into the aspect of this discussion that deals with so what? What can we do with that information that we have? The information we are getting is that Volta region currently is just a little piece of the Western Togoland. That the Western Togoland actually, it's a territory that was occupied by the German, including even Togo itself. The two together were occupied by German. Germans lost the war. France, who's already in Benin, and Britain, which was already in Ghana, formed an alliance, decided to fight Germany on, you know, the African land, and, you know, as a result, took over that territory and divided it among themselves. And they've since done things, especially on the side of the Ghana, to continue to divide that land into various regions. In other words, Ghana has integrated the Western Togoland into its fabric. Now, how do we unwind that? If we can unwind that. If we cannot unwind that, then how do we still realize the purposes of this union through the structures that are currently in place? For instance, we have districts, which is where development is supposed to be channeled in Ghana. So I'm going to ask you, Seth, and before I do so, there is a quick question here that I think you should answer. But when you come back, my question to you would be, how do we unwind this relationship that we currently have? If we cannot unwind this relationship that we currently have to where we go back to the union and consummate it the way it's intended to, then how can we use the existing structures to still realize the visions of that union? Okay, so the first question I have for you here is from Clark. Clark is saying Western Togoland is not Ghanaian territory, nor a British territory, nor a German territory. Western Togoland belongs to themselves. Okay, thanks for saying that, Mr. Clark Phillips. I think somebody's either clapping for us, or I don't understand what this science means, but that's from Mary Mensah. Thanks for watching us, Mary. And Steve is saying, Sir Alfred, Seth's whole case has been predicated on an agreement. May I ask, should an agreement be signed, then what? Okay, so if an agreement is signed, then what? Okay.
What agreement? Is he referring to the union agreement?
Yes, he's saying that your whole case is predicated on the fact that we have to have at least, at the minimum, a union agreement in place for the union to be properly consummated. And what you need to help us with is that, okay, if that union is consummated, what is this going to look like? Is it going to be like the United States of America, where there are multiple states with governors within that union, and that the Western Togoland would be headed by its own government, but under the union of the Ghana umbrella? How is that? Maybe if you can clarify that, so that the understanding now that all you are saying is that there needs to be an agreement in place, but rather
the union is already pictured down by the United Nations.
Okay.
It is not now that anybody is going to tell how the union will be. The union will be a union between two countries, Western Togoland on the other side, and independent Gold Coast on the other side. This is what the United Nations, the vision for United Nations. If you read the resolution 1044 SI, it's clear there. It is a union between Western Togoland, or they call it Togoland under British administration, and independent Gold Coast. So it is the union between two states. So if that union is not established, what we are saying is that now we are matured. We don't need anybody to come to tell us how to do the right thing. Let us sit down like brothers and sisters and iron our differences and establish the union. Now we can do the union. We can effect it without even going to the United Nations. If we need them, we only need their guidance and understanding that we want to finish what British left undone. Then we have it finished. That's it. It's not a big deal. We are not breaking any part of Ghana land. We are not breaking any part of Western Togoland. No, we are not doing that. What we are saying is that the people who voted in Plebiscite to join an independent Gold Coast in a form of a union, that union to be established, so that tomorrow your children, my children, nobody will come and stand in front of them and say, I put it to you, I challenge you, you are not a Ghanaian. That's happening today. We need that human dignity to be there. We need to clarify that. Then the people of Western Togoland, one, will be de facto Ghanaian, two, will be de jure Ghanaian. That's it. All this issue is done, but we are not running away from Ghana. It's going to be the same country. But there is a union. And you say about government, if a union is formed, the people of the Western Togoland and Ghana, they will sit down and decide, okay, you have your own governor. represent your interest. You also have your own governor representing your interest. We're still going to maintain a unitary system of government. We're going to change to a federal system of government, or we're going to change a union government. That is not meant to say that. So when the two people come together, Western Togoland and Ghana, they will decide that.
So what you're asking for is the platform to kind of have this conversation.
It's a platform to allow the people of Western Togoland to form, to get up, and then can have understanding that they need to form a union with Ghana. And Ghana should understand that the union
there's a decree against anyone trying to organize a group that has the aim of seceding. But there's no decree or law or act or provisions against people from the Western Togoland territory advocating for the proper union to, that has been...
Exactly. I want to say one thing, that decree, that Atampo decree of 1976, the Supreme Military Council Decree 20, it is against international law.
Okay.
Yeah, international law does not even allow that. So even if a country adopt that today, and Ghana is taking that into consideration, they are signatories. Ghana is a signatory in international law. So why do you think something against the international law? So even that decree, I don't see why we should waste our time. That thing is a shame that Ghana, under this 21st century, Ghana, a signatory to United Nations Charter and all that, should be, having decree today in they are dealing with their citizens, a decree that discriminates part of the people, a decree that is against their own constitution, a decree that is against the international law. It is never done anywhere. So that even decree should be trashed into garbage.
Right. Okay, great. So now let's talk about the districts. Some will say that, okay, if we can unwind, if we can go back and redo the integration that has already occurred, right? Where, the land mass that, composes of the Togo, the Western Togoland has already been divided into different regions. Other people are of the view that the fact that it's demarcated into different regions doesn't mean anything. Those regions can be done tomorrow by another constitutional instrument. But we are saying, if we are not going to undo all these demarcations that occurred as part of integrating this territory into Ghana, then isn't it possible for us to use the current structures in place, the district assembly system, which is how development is driven in our country, to still bring development to this area, to still be the managers of at least the revenues that are collected at the district level for our own development? Can we do this without necessarily asking for, some type of agreement, the union agreement to be signed and perhaps effected?
Yeah, thank you so much. There is nothing that we cannot undo. There is nothing that we cannot unwind. If authority was not created, but today you've created authority, what else that we cannot do? If Savannah region was not in existence, but today we have it in existence, what else can we not do? What about Western Togoland who have voted? And you know that it's on record. People voted to join you in a form of a union. What is it? They say, okay, let's do that union. It's very simple and easy. It's even simple than creating authority. It's even simple than creating Savannah region. So that is easy. It's not anything difficult that we cannot do. So people should not think that this is hard. It's nothing. It's not hard. It's very simple. It can be done. Okay. Now, if we talk about the district level, it is district level, and every region has a district, which by the Constitution of Ghana, that is a Ghana constitution. It's not a union constitution. That constitution does not signify the union between Western Togoland and Ghana. It is solely a Ghana constitution. But based on the Ghana constitution, people who are in the Western Togoland, even though they are absorbed into Ghana illegally, that they are taking their taxes and stuff like that. Since somebody is responsible in taking their taxes, that person should also be responsible in developing their regions, their land, their everything. That person who has been taking their taxes should be held accountable for providing their basic need for survival. That is why people are paying taxes. So whether you have district or you don't have district, which is embedded in Ghana's constitution, not the union constitution, the language that the people of Western Togoland will understand more is when we talk about the union constitution. If we are referring to a unity constitution, which have to do with Ghana, that is Ghana's issue. We have to live it for them that way. But we have to understand that our existence in Ghana, it is not 100% guaranteed. We were absorbed into Ghana. Therefore, if Ghana have been able to create a district in our land and have been taking taxes from us, have been taking revenue from us, and based on their own constitution, that the districts are responsible for development, fair enough. Let's go ahead and develop the land because the people are paying taxes. They are making revenue for you. And so that should not be the case. Whether we want the union to be established or not, the place must be developed. You must develop it, whether or not, because the people are paying taxes. If you cannot develop the place, don't take their taxes. Leave them. They will use their taxes themselves to develop their own land. But once you have become a manager, taking their money, you should also be a manager of developing their region or their country. Now,
okay, so somebody's taking their taxes and is already developed and is continuing to develop their land. What else do the people want?
Development does not give the right to our citizenship. Development does not give us the territorial integrity. Development does not give us the what do you call it? Our nationhood.
People say unite. People are saying Africa, the entire Africa should unite, so that we can, work together with each other and stop worrying about this territory. People want the borders lifted. These borders are creatures of, powers that do not even belong in the territory. They came in and divided us. And in normal circumstances, we are all one people. So
exactly.
It's tough. We are talking about territorial integrity,
Yes, the people of Western Togoland are not crying because their place is not developed. They are not crying for that. Their place is supposed to be developed because they are paying tax and somebody is taking their taxes. I explained that. Even if you develop their place, it does not stop them from agitating for their right to be restored, their right as a human being to be restored. So you can paint or you can tie the roads of Western Togoland with gold and diamonds. We will still demand the right thing to be done. That is the union. If you don't do the union, if you don't give the right to the people, if you don't give the liberty, these are fundamental human rights. The people deserve it. They need it. They earn it. They achieve it. If you take this thing away from them, there is nothing under the sun that you will give them and we will keep our mouth shut. You can go and bring Jesus Christ to Western Togoland. You will still demand for the union. So it is not a matter of if I give you development and so what. If we have our union, we can develop our place too. So what is the difference? Give us the union and we will stop shouting on your head. That's it. Now talking about African Union. We don't oppose African Union, but we are saying that if this mistake has not been corrected, African Union will be formed all right, but this problem will be there to what? To worry African Union. So this problem has to fix before they come into African Union. If we form African Union today, no matter whatever agreement the people of Western Togoland and Ghana will agree, it is that will be in what do you call it? The Western Union. If the people say we are all Ghanaian, but we are different states in living together as Ghanaian, then in African Union, you only see one Ghana. You don't see two Ghana. If you go to Nigeria, if Nigeria is part of African Union, you will not see the many states in Nigeria in pieces. You will see only one Nigeria. The same thing.
Okay, let's take a few more questions coming from our audience. So you see how best you can answer them. Michael William is saying our forefathers voted for union means self-future development, but not to depend on any non-inhabitants to decide for our national cake. Okay, so that's a good comment there, Michael. Thanks for watching. Tell a friend to tell a friend that the Ghana Agenda is on every Saturday between 2 p.m., which is 6 p.m. in Ghana. Royal Black Jesus says, so is Seth saying without the union, Western Togoland, are not Ghanaians? Is that what you're saying?
My respects to Royal Black Jesus. Thank you so much for that question. Yes, you are very right. Without the union, Western Togolanders are only de facto Ghanaians, but de jure, they are not Ghanaians.
Thank you so much for that. Solomon Agbanya says, in 1952, 5 good years before the independence of the UK colony of the Gold Coast, Kwame Nkrumah and Gold Coast CPP members were allowed to roam freely in the United Nations Trust Territory, Western Togoland, to engage in political activities, and even later on campaign for the yes vote during the plebiscite. The United Nations Plebiscite Commissioner Eduardo Espinosa Y. Prieta has complained several times about it and reported it to the United Nations. The response of the UK Gold Coast administration was rather dismissive, which I think it went on, but I can't get the rest. So Solomon, I'm going to try to get your message on my phone and see if I can get it all out. Because you were saying something important there. Okay. While I wait to do that, let me see if I can get Solomon's. No, I cannot. Okay, Solomon, I can't get that's too long. Chop it up in pieces for us, please. Okay.
I think what Mr. Solomon is saying is very clear. He's trying to see some of the illegal activities of the CPP government by infringing into the Western Togoland to campaign for the yes vote for the union. We know that, and it is true at a point in time that Kwame Nkrumah, who is not from Western Togoland, was allowed to enter Western Togoland territory to campaign. You could see how things went so bad and so wrongly in those days. That Kwame Nkrumah and his people, members of CPP, were allowed to enter into Western Togoland to campaign for yes vote for the union. Now, at the same time, people who were perceived to be anti-plebiscite, people who were against the union, they found means the way to disqualify them from registry. If you go, sometimes they say your name is too long, we cannot go into the paper. Your name is too hard, we cannot spell it. They were using a LAPO receipt. You have to produce LAPO receipt before your name will be written, whereby where the people understand, like the northern part of the Western Togoland, where Kwame Nkrumah, this was very intensive and they embraced union, nothing of that sort happened. And the registration aspect itself, they use members of the CPP to do the registration, not even the Western Togoland. So a lot of things went on wrong at the time. But yes, still, we are saying that we forget about all those things. The path is clear, whether wrong or right. Election has been held, and a vote is determined, and the determinant was union, and the union also gave birth to Resolution 1044 SI of December 13, 1956. Let us implement that Resolution 1044 SI. Every human being deserves respect, and we should accord every human with that respect so that we will have that dignity for everyone. That's all that we are saying.
Mary Ethel Manson says, if Ghana now is using a decree law on some parts of its citizens, what is stopping them to let the citizens know that the 1992 Constitution is not in use again? Okay, they say they're using decree. Why wouldn't they just tell us?
Well, the decree is being used, like she said. The decree is being used on some people, but not everybody. So that is a discrimination in the itself, and the decree itself is against international law. The decree itself is against Ghana law. So
Steve says citizenship is not achieved by virtue of union. My friend, it is by birth known as Jos Solis or Jos Suglinis. Okay, Steve. Speak some English, Steve. So Steve is giving us some legalist or legal terms here to show that citizenship really is not by union, that is by birth. What do you say?
Yeah, somehow it could be right, because sometimes where you were born, you belong to where you were born and stuff like that. But even when you go to Ghana Constitution, if you are Ghanaian and you give birth to a child in America, they see that child as a Ghanaian because the parents are what? A Ghanaian. So that's why I said to some extent, in a way, they are all legal implications to this. But what Steve should understand is that if he is saying that the people of Western Togoland are not Ghanaians, the only time they become a Ghanaian is when the union is established. So if you are born in Western Togoland, you are not a Ghanaian. So get that fact. So I am not saying that the union is making somebody.
If anybody, from the other side, other parts of Ghana is calling West Togolese, are they right or wrong?
It's perfect. The West are Togolese. If you don't know you are Togolese, then you should get it from me now.
So all airways are Togolese, okay.
That is the truth. In the gospel part, they not only the airways, all the people that fall within the Western Togoland together with the Eastern Togoland, they are all Togo people. They are all Togolese. So you are not Ghanaian. The only thing that makes you a Ghanaian,
the Dagomba and the Gonja, Buim,
they are all part of Western Togoland.
Before they are all Togolese.
Yes. So if somebody tell you are from Western Togoland, you are in Boteria, you are from Chuponi, you are from Pusiga, you are from all those places you are mentioning, you are a Togolese. So when somebody tell you are Togolese, the person is just telling you the truth.
Okay. So let's look at what Steve is saying here again. Steve is saying, okay, so I think we read Steve's message there. Solomon is saying, Mr. Muzu, why do you think Ghana is against a union between her and Western Togoland? Well, because everything Ghana has done so far is to show that, they would rather have the Togoland integrated. They've gone to the extent of dividing and demarcating between that land in so many, or they dissected the land in so many ways that they have to go and unwind all these constitutional instruments that created all these regions in order to cut off the former Western Togoland and kind of grant its unionship. And I don't think Ghana has tried to do that since Kwame Nkrumah, and even both parties, the NDC and NPP, seem to agree on the fact that this union thing is not happening. So yes, it's been in how Ghana has proceeded as a country so far. There's nothing from the government side, even governments before, to the extent that even a champion passed a law against the mere mention of the word, the Liberation Council or so.
Tolimo.
Tolimo.
Mr. Musu, I think you said that they cut the land into pieces and divide it into regions and stuff like that. But that does not make integration. Even if you cut the land into pieces and create a more region, that does not make integration. Even if you want to be sincere with yourself, that you want to integrate somebody's land into your land, there is the proper way to do it. And there is no integration without a document. So even people who are talking about integration, they lack the document. They lack the agreement of integration.
Right.
So I've been on radio where people say your land have been integrated. And I asked them, if we have been integrated, where is the integration?
Where is the document? Okay. So
agreement to prove that. What is that?
So right now we are at an illegal state, right? Right now, what we have in is what you would call an illegal land grab. Okay, great. Let's then take a look at what Steve said again here. Steve says citizenship is not achieved by a union. Okay, we've already read that part. Then Steve again says, I do agree to the fact that development of the whole of Volta region is a must. Okay, so Steve agrees that development is a must, and of course the tax is already being collected on the land, so it's incumbent on the government to continue to develop the areas for which, they are collecting taxes. But, you are saying that you are not asking for union because of development, but you are asking for union to restore the territorial integrity to the land. Is that accurate? Did I capture that correct?
Yeah, you captured it correct.
Okay. Let's go to the next comment here, which is from William Gerardo. William says the objective of the system was to promote the political, economic, and social advancement of the trust territories and their progressive development towards self-governance or independence. Okay. So he's saying, the objective of the system was
the objective of the trust system.
Right.
That's why the land was placed in a trust system and was given to Britain, to nature. Right. So that all these things can be achieved. All these things that Mr. Gerardo is mentioning could be achieved. This is the UN purpose for the trust territory, Western Togoland. But now all these things we have not achieved all these things. You see? So by the time that the transition agreement will be cancelled, all these things is presumed to have been achieved, but yet it has not been achieved.
Right.
That is what you read in the resolution 1044.
Right. Some will say that, and I'm about to share the results of the plebiscites, right? When the plebiscites actually took place, the result is as follows. We know that at the time, the entire Western Togoland was divided into 5 districts. Is that correct?
6 districts.
6 districts. Okay. Yeah. So we have the Mamprosi, the Dagomba, the Gonja, the Buim Krachi district, the Kpando district, and the whole districts. And if you look at the results, it tells you something. It tells you that the Mamprosi, the Dagomba, and the Gonjas and the Krachis wanted Gonja, I'm almost 50-50 there. But those 3, Mamprosi, Dagomba, and Buim and Krachi districts, they wanted to be part of the union. All right?
Yes. Yeah.
And Bando and Ho definitely where the Ewe speaking part of the Western Togoland resides, they wanted to be independent. They wanted to stay under the trusteeship. And this was taken down to the United Nations for debate, and my understanding was that they felt like the area that was asking to stay under the trusteeship was like the 1/7 of the entire Western Togoland. And it wasn't appropriate for them to grant them that relief to actually, continue to stay under the trusteeship. So, in other words, the person who speaks Ewe, who lives in Volta Region, never, ever, ever in their lifetime wanted to be part of Ghana. So does it make it legitimate for other Ghanaians to, now, and of course they've now put all the areas into one region and call it Volta Region, right? They cut OT off, so all the areas are in one region now. Is it legitimate for others to then point to a finger to this areas and say, you guys are Togolese, you guys don't belong to Ghana? Because really, you didn't want to be part of Ghana to start with, even in the plebiscite, to source your votes. Why doesn't anyone want to be part of Ghana?
It is clear. The purpose of the plebiscite, it was not to determine who want to be part of a union with Ghana or who do not want to be part of the union. All that is saying, they want to ascertain the wishes of the people, whether they wanted to be in union with independent Gold Coast or they want to stay in transition until a further determination of their political future. That was a simple question put. And definitely some areas will vote for the union and some area will vote against the union. It's just like what we used to have a normal election in Ghana. where some areas, some regions vote massively for one particular party, and some regions vote against one particular party, exactly like that. But you don't conclude that because you vote against me, when I come to power, you don't like me, so I don't have to do what I have to do for you. No, it's not like that. So the people who
voted uniformly they voted against it down. You could see
the people who voted against the union, like you said, they argue very well at the United Nations that okay, now that the election is over, we voted against the union, we should be allowed to join the Eastern Togo, and those who voted for the union should be allowed also to join the union. But the United Nations said no. That was not the purpose of the plebiscite. The purpose is not to cut you into pieces. The purpose is to see you as a whole. You are taking a decision, one decision. So once the majority say they want the union, whether you say you don't want it or you want it, you are in. You will become majority carries the day. So that is why they are in. So there's no way they can break them in pieces. That is why they stay together. But there's the union itself, that the Mamprosi, the Kratchi, the Buem, and whatever, the union they themselves voted for has now been effective. If you are from Mamprosi, if you are from Kratchi, the Gomba, Buem, and whatever, that your forefathers voted for the union. Can you please show me the union agreement and tell me when the union took place?
Okay, let's quickly look at a few more messages. The messages keep coming non-stop. We are lucky enough today. Look at us. We are being watched by 7,600 people live. We can't be more blessed. So let's take this quick message and then we'll get back to our conversations. Charles Jeremiah Dunyo says, Ghanaians themselves clearly tell us always that we are not Ghanaians. So there you have it. Also, John Safule says, watching you speaking the truth and boldly. Keep up fighting. Keep fighting. Okay. Thanks for that message there, John Safui. Steve says, Sir Alfred, please ask Seth if he consulted for MPP during the election. Did you?
Consulted?
For MPP during the election?
I don't understand the question. Do I consulted MPP? How?
He says, did you consult? Were you a consultant for the MPP during the election?
No. I am not.
Okay. We just want to kind of put some facts on wax, right? Akume Aaron is saying, I love your boldness on the show. Keep the fire burning. Thank you for that comment, Mr. Aaron. And Mary again. Mary, thanks for watching today. We've read a few comments from you and we appreciate it. Please come back next week. We are on the same time. He says, even though Ghana integrated Togoland into Ghana, but the people of Western Togoland knows their real land and its origin. Western Togolanders are smart. Thanks for recognizing the engineers, accountants, lawyers, and doctors, and all the smart people of Western Togoland who Mr. Seth is trying to awake by his, instructions and teachings on this show today. So Solomon again is saying that, Mr. Muzu, if that union thing is not happening according to the Ghana government, what is that supposed to mean? That Ghana is not interested in the union? Is that supposed to mean that Ghana is not interested in the union? I don't think the powers that be wanted the union. If they wanted it, that is what they actually, went into the plebiscite for. That is what the United Nations approved. So if they are interested, wouldn't they have already consummated it? That's just my position. I don't think they wanted that to happen. And every other government that came into power found a way not to have this happen. I would want to ask John Dramani Mahama or to whoever is about to become president next, whether they would allow this union thing to happen.
Let me come in here. The union will surely happen. The atmosphere is just not right for politicians to come to the acceptance stage. that we need to do the right thing. They see that we are still gambling, we are still, wobbling ourselves under the sun. We don't know where we are going. So they are not saying that it's time for them to do the right thing, because we have never raised ourselves to the standard of creating a balance of power. If we create a balance of power, these politicians will come begging for us. That is why we are saying that the people of Western Togoland, they should wake up. The people should wake up. Those who who are sleeping should wake up. Those who are working should start running. When we start this and we create a balance of power, these MPs, they'll be running and be begging for us. They'll be begging, okay, let's do it. But because they don't see that balance of power, so they feel more important than
unified force coming from the inhabitants of the land.
Exactly. You see, it's about time. You see, the fact, one fact is also is that the people of Western Togoland have been coerced for many years. They have been suppressed. We have seen all this aggression, and they have realized and think that suppression and repression is the right. So they don't see that.
Someone also argue that you've had one of us became president. You have Rollins becoming president. You had Kotoka rising up all the way to the highest office of presidency. Even in Kwame Nkrumah's administration, you had Mr. Gbadema there as the Minister of Finance. So how is it that we have all this Yado Bera Samoa being the longest, Attorney General in the history of Ghana, being the longest Minister of Foreign Affairs?
We also have the UN Secretary General, Kofi Annan, is from Western Togoland.
So how is it that all these people who should know better or who knows better do not think this union is necessary, that this union should be consummated?
You're right, but the union does not depend on a single person. It depends on the entire people. That is why sometimes when you ask me a question, I said, I am not the one who should be saying that. It should be left for the people to decide. So if even Kofi Annan became the UN Secretary General, who is also a Western Togolander, giving that plus to Ghana, raising the flag of Ghana to that international level, he alone cannot do this until the people wake up, until the people of Western Togoland see that suppression and repression is not a right, until they realize that where we are today is not where we're supposed to be. There is some place for us to be, and we should rise ourselves to that standard. Then those people you are mentioning can come into the fold and support what we are doing, and the right thing will be achieved. That is where we create a balance of power. If there is no balance of power, these politicians will always override us. But I'm hoping that the time is coming, the people of Western Togoland will rise up to the standard that will create a balance of power, and these politicians will come kneeling and begging us for doing of the union.
Okay, great. So let me take the last few comments, and then we can do the last words. Since we've been here for the last 2 hours, and I know you just came from another show, so you've been doing a marathon today, and it'll be appropriate to give you some break and have you get some water, get some food to eat, and prepare for the rest of the day. So Mr. Solomon, I think I read that again, right, where he always says it's not happening according to, he says, so Mr. Muzi, if that union is not happening according to the, I think I read that already. All right. Yeah, so Steve is saying because he keeps he keeps saying airways are not getting in. I think Steve is answering to you about the fact that let me see if I go back to his previous message here, where he said I should ask you if you've consulted for the MPP, because you keep saying airways are not Ghanaians. Did you get a connection?
Yes.
Okay, great. So then Solomon again says, if they don't want the union, why are they talking about succession treason and so forth? I mean, there is something that is known by, I think, governments past. And I believe at Champom, he panicked to the point where he has to deal with it by passing a decree. Every government somehow wants to deal with this phenomenon in one way or the other. Akufo-Addo's way of dealing with it is to even further divide Volta region. So I don't believe that our governments are not aware of the situation. I just think they don't want to pursue the union path, and that is why they've gone out of their way in so many different instances to block the efforts. So,
per the international law, under the international, succession itself is a right. We should know that succession is not a crime; it's a right under the international. So if somebody is passing a decree, Supreme Military Decree 20 against succession, that person is also passing something against international law. And if you are passing a decree, which is that
succession is illegal in I don't know what many countries mix.
The international law, succession is a right. It's not a criminal act. It's not a criminal act. So the Ghana is using succession because people think that succession is a bad thing. I am not supporting succession, though. I am not saying that people should succeed. If there's a need for people
to for union, not a succession.
Exactly. Yeah, but
okay, let's take this other one and then we can go. Is it Mr. Muzu? You left John Mahama out of it because he's also from Gonja. So definitely he's Western Togolander. You heard that. So John Mahama perhaps is also a good Western Togolander, according to Miss Mary Ethel. Thanks for watching that and thanks for that comment, Ethel. Charles Jeremiah Jr. say, I love today's program. Thank you, Charles. And we are expecting you to come back next week. We're even going to beef it up more and have the conversation extended to areas interesting. Abonyo Christian, Abonyo again says, now Ghana government is arresting the citizens of Western Togolanders. How can we go? How are we going to educate our people about the union? So I think this conversation we had here today, this discussion today, is a good starter. The confusion is I don't think people really know that's what was voted for. People didn't know exactly what was voted for and how it should be implemented. And I think that is what you were able to do perfectly today, Seth. I think you were able to clear the doubt on what the union should look like, which is two states that agree to live under the umbrella of one country. In other words, Western Togoland agreeing to live with Ghana, with independent Gold Coast under one country, and perhaps that country then will be called Ghana. But what we've seen rather is, the Western Togoland just get put into Ghana in a way that is not even integrate. That is not even likely to satisfy the integration because, like you are saying, there's no documentation for even integration. There's nothing to show that that is the intention and that is what they wanted to do. And this, has been some type of plan that has been presented to the powers that be, like the United Nations, to sanction and approve, just like they passed a resolution to approve the union itself. Okay, so let me take this one from Trend Africa TV. Says, best political show, Ghana first. Thank you so much, Trend Africa. Really appreciate that. Appreciate you for watching and for all the viewers from that network. Charles Philip is saying, last year, Germany celebrated 30 years of reunification. What about Western Togoland and their other colonies? What do the imperialist Britain and Nkrumah's Gold Coast want to achieve in integrating Western Togoland to Ghana? Okay, so that's somebody's observation. Philip is saying that. I know wouldn't. I know the program wouldn't end until Ato drops. So thanks for the comment, Ato. And Ato says, wow, today is all propaganda. Let me pass. Ato is saying today, all we are doing on the Ghana agenda is propaganda. But Ato, that's not the case. We want a good understanding of the Ghana project, right? Ghana is a very beautiful country, but also at the same time a very complicated one. There are several forces at play in Ghana, one of which is this whole Togoland thing. And we can't, continue as a country without really understanding what happened in the 1956 plebiscite. What is the fate of the Togoland as a component of Ghana? We can't continue to ignore that and think we have a perfect nation. No, we should interrogate these issues and get into the bottom so that the right thing is done. There are people involved, and we want to make sure the right thing is done to those people. That is why we brought this to the Ghana agenda and tabled it for discussion. But again, I know you are saying it's a propaganda.
I think
Yes.
Mr. Pamina Danso, I don't know him in person, but I think that he spoke like a true Ghanaian, because when you speak Ghanaian, when they don't understand something, they find a name for the thing. So he has found a name for something you don't understand. So that is why I understand where he's coming from.
Okay. Great. All right. So now, in closing, we've done this for the past 2 hours, and I really appreciate all the, knowledge you were able to share, and all the comments that came, and the way you were able to handle every comment and answer it without, any hesitation. I want you to, summarize, what your presentation is about, and what you want the viewers to take out of today's show. What is that one single message that you want people who watch you today to leave the show with? And of course, you can also add your last words, and we'll bring the program to an end.
Thank you so much. What I want to say is that the UN passed resolution 1044 SI of December 30th, 1956. This resolution talk about a step that the British should take to bring about the union, and that union has not been effected. And then Britain wrote to the United Nations telling them that the union has been effected on the very day that Ghana became independent, that the union was effected. If that is the case, then we should not be celebrating Ghana's Independence Day. We should rather be celebrating the Union Day. But because the union was not effected, that's why we continue celebrating Ghana's Independence Day. So I want everybody that fall within the Western Togoland to rise up to this challenge, that this is a purpose cause, or a destiny call for us to stand for our right, to stand for the future of our children, to stand for the liberation of our land, so that we can fight this together and achieve the implementation of the resolution 1044 SI. That is the purpose now. That's today that we are speaking. Our duty is to fight for the implementation, the full implementation of resolution 1044 SI of 13th December 1956. That is the must. That is a duty that me and you, we have to do for our land. So everybody watching me, those of you from Western Togoland, don't keep sleeping. Let's wake up. Let's get up. Let's forget about where we have reached in life in terms of Ghana. Let's forget about that and think about the bigger picture in the future. Future will be better if the union is made clearly, so that we all will be better integrated into one another. I'm telling you, let us do this. Thank you so much. That is my last word.
Thank you so much. I think I have a few more words, comments for you, but I did like what you did say about the fact that, when you think about it, the independence, that's 6 March was a Ghana independence and not a union independence, because of course,
and the letter says, the noble letter said the very day Ghana became independent, that same day the union was effected.
Right.
So, am I lying?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Exactly. So if that is the case, why are we celebrating Independence Day, not the Union Day?
Right. Okay. Now you made a point in there. That's a good point there. Okay, great. Let me look at the last few other ones that came in since I read the last one. Solomon says Ghanaians should acknowledge that the whole mess was UK decolonization failure, and should gather the courage to arrange for implementation of the union of their country with Western Togoland. Divine Odonko say, congratulations. I hope the hearts of the people will now be losing to absorb wisdom. Thank you so much. Thank you, Divine. Mary says, thank you, Mr. Muzu, and your guest, Seth Mifetu. Thank you, Miss Ethel, for watching. We really appreciate that. Solomon again says, the status quo cannot continue forever. Yes, it cannot. Something has to be done about it. And Seth definitely wouldn't be quiet. I'm sure he'll keep shouting until something changes. And Charles says, sure. I think Charles was changed sure to you saying that, the people of the land shouldn't go to sleep, that they should continue to work hard until they achieve the objectives of a union government with independent Gold Coast, which was envisioned by the resolution that was approved by the United Nations, resolution 1044 XI in this case. Okay, so that will be our show for the day, even though Steve came back and said our forefathers voted to join Gold Coast, which was seeking independence at the time, and subsequently became Ghana, hence Ghana's independence. Okay, so Steve is disagreeing with you and saying that, our forefathers voted to join Ghana. Ghana became independent, and then we are saying, but Steve, I think
when you read the plebiscite, the question does not involve joining, it says union.
Yeah, even the letter from the UK back to the United Nations informing the United Nations of Ghana's independence specifically stated that Gold Coast, and they call it the Ghana Independence Act. Ghana became independent based on the Ghana Independence Act, and upon which it would now be joined with the Togoland, which, that letter differentiated between these two entities. So Ghana's independence really had nothing to do with already independent Togoland on its own, which was never colonized. And so maybe Steve should take a look at that and we'll get a good understanding. And then Ben Adele say, thank you, Mr. Muzu, for this wonderful day. Thank you all for watching the show. We really appreciate you. Tell a friend to tell a friend. The Ghana Agenda is on now every Saturday from 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're in Central Time Zone, that will be 1 p.m. Central Time. If you're in Ghana, that will be 6 p.m. for you. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Alfred Muzu and his Ato says, you see the way you are struggling, Alfred. No, this has been a fun show. But thanks again for watching. Hey, Seth, thanks for coming, man. I really appreciate all the wisdom and knowledge you were able to bring to the show today. On that note, we would bid you goodbye and see you again next week. See you. Bye-bye.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah, baby, aka yeah, Bantam. And me di feel a buzzing pan and to see one virtually the money how Ghana mat other romantic. What's me sending provisions? As I such credit, Emma Ebusuya phone and the form one Ghana. And one is a www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamat.com. Let's provisions in credit. Na really I have friend numbers, Nana screen nothing. Ghana Mat,